entitled History of the FIFA World Cup. Please help me welcome Maja Omananic.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're one day away until March Madness starts. And if you have no idea what that madness is, it's the FIFA World Cup. And just to tell you how important this is to the rest of the world, it is not Super Bowl, it is bigger than that. It is not Olympics, it is even bigger than Olympics. Actually, in 2015 million people tuned in to watch the final game. That's 1/9 of the total world population. In 2010, 300 million people tuned in just to see which teams made the final cup. And to just further illustrate how important this is to the rest of the world, in a study conducted by the Reader's Digest in Germany, 52% of Germans actually said that they would skip on having intimate relations with their partner in order to watch the game. And also, over 50% of them said the only way they would skip the final game is if something catastrophic happened and prevented them from doing so. British people are not far away from being crazy about soccer either. And from this point on, I'll also call soccer football because that makes sense. You have a foot and a ball and it's called a football. You know, if you have an egg and a hand, you should, you know, it just doesn't connect how it would be called football. British people are also crazy about their football. About 1/3 of them, 1/3 would actually do household chores for the rest of the year, just to guarantee that the team wins the World Cup. About 10% of them would dump their current girlfriends, if that would guarantee that their team would win the World Cup. So let me tell you a little bit about FIFA World Cup. FIFA was first founded in 1904, and it stands for International Federation of Football Associations. And believe it or not, it's such a huge event right now. But FIFA, in its early days, was not popular at all. So in 1904, FIFA president was trying to organize a first international football match, but it was not really successful. In 1908, Olympic Games included football on their repertoire. However, it was more of a sort of a show than it's supposed to be a competition. It wasn't until May 28, 1928, that FIFA first publicly declared its intent to organize an international football tournament. And the first FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay, in Montevideo, in 1930. And the reason why Montevideo was chosen is because Olympics soccer champions for the years before, 2 years actually, before was a Uruguayan team. As you may think, in 1930, it was really hard to travel between continents. So even though it was supposed to be an international tournament, not many European teams made it. And what I found very astonishing is that out of all the huge European teams, the only European teams that made it were France, Belgium, Romania, and Yugoslavia, which I found very astonishing. Where did they find the money to send the team? I mean, British people didn't send their team, and Britain and Germany have way more money and were way more established at that point. However, Yugoslavia actually won the 4th place. In the first World Cup, 13 teams competed. Of course, over the years, it gained steam, and in 1934 to 1978, it was increased to 16 teams. One thing that was very obvious right from the get-go was that sport was sort of dominated by South Americans and Europeans. And although it was an international competition, not many Asian, African, or Oceanic teams would qualify. So in order to provide more opportunities from teams from other continents to participate as well, the number of teams that participated in 1982 was increased to 24, and further on to 32. And just how dominated by Europeans and South Americans this sport is, will tell you by the number of titles each country has won. So Brazil is the current leader with 5 World Cup titles. It's followed closely by another Southern, well, I guess it's not a South America, by Italy, which has 4 titles. Germany comes third with 3 titles. And then we have Uruguay and Argentina tied for 2 titles each. And then we have France and England with 1 title each. So, very dominated by South America and European teams. However, North American and Asian teams and African teams have been improving over the years. So, in the past decade, about 5 teams have made it in the quarterfinals. And one of them was USA, Mexico, Senegal, North Korea, and I'm missing one, Cameroon. So even an African team made it. So let me tell you a little bit about the format of FIFA. We have 2 stages. We have the qualifications and the actual tournament. In the qualifications are held on 6 sort of areas. And those are North and Central America and the Caribbean. The next area would be South America. We have European qualifications. We have Oceania, which I presume would be the New Zealand, Australia, Africa, and I'm missing one. Which one am I missing? Asia. Thank you very much, because I'm like, I swore I did them in alphabetical order before. So Asia. And these teams would compete over the course of 3 years preceding the tournament. So the tournament is held every 4 years. And again, this is a madness because there's always some kind of a controversy rising from these games. The most recent controversy would be between Turkey and France. And apparently there was a hand play, and in soccer you're not allowed to touch the ball, that just preceded the goal that decided who qualified. Sorry, between France and Ireland, which decided who qualified. An Irish team was petitioning to actually be included as a 33rd team into the World Cup due to this mistake. They also proposed to replay the game, which did not happen. FIFA did not approve that. So we have first the qualification that decides 32 teams that make it into the tournament. The 32 teams that make it into a tournament get divided into 4 groups of each, 8 teams each. The first part of the World Cup is a round-robin tournament. So each team is ensured to play 3 other teams in its group. Out of that, 16 teams advance into the knockout stage. And then the knockout stage, you play a game, you lose, you're out of the tournament. Just to let you know how big, on a financial scale this is, the estimated winning prize is $420 million.
Wow.
And how that's distributed, I have written here. And it goes, 204 teams actually applied to go be in FIFA Cup. Each of them received $1 million, just to prepare. Then we have $8 million for people that made it to a tournament, $9 million for people that made it past into the second round, 18 for quarterfinals, semifinals, and then $30 million a prize for the winning team. One more thing, $50 million are awarded to teams, like clubs, for possible damages. So in case their players get injured while representing their country nationally, they get awarded $50 million. So tomorrow the madness starts, and if you don't understand why people are so crazy about football, just take a look at maybe your local European or South American pub, and you'll understand. Thank you so much.